Intermittent fasting is just a fancy name for starving yourself. Not quite. Let me explain, because once I learned this, it changed my whole life. Hi, my name is Justin Canning, and I spent my entire young life as overweight and obese. And for the past 15 years, I've been learning how to live a well-balanced, healthy life and helping other people do so as well. Intermittent fasting, or IF as it's often referred to as, is when you're only eating within a specific time window. The most popular being the 16-8 ratio, where you're fasting for 16 hours a day and you're only eating within an 8-hour time window. Where in most diets, you're eating 3 to 6 smaller meals a day, with IF, you're basically skipping that first meal and pushing your food later into the day. Where anytime you're losing weight, you're in a calorie deficit, IF is no different. It's just a different form of calorie restriction. But the real magic is when you're actually in the fasted state. Let me geek out for a second, because this is really beneficial. Whenever you eat, the carbohydrates in your food is broken down into glucose, or blood sugar. When glucose enters the bloodstream, this signals the pancreas to release insulin. Insulin is a hormone that tells your body to store glucose in its cells as body fat, as well as the liver to store it as glycogen. So whenever insulin is present, you're able to store fat. Now, the best way I've been able to describe this in the past is picturing these old pickup trucks. Back in the day, Ford used to make these pickup trucks with 2 gas tanks. And whenever one gas tank runs low, you just flick the switch and you end up burning the fuel from the other gas tank. Now, this is a great way to picture the body, where one fuel tank is the stomach and the food within it, and the other tank is body fat. If we went down hour by hour of what's going on in the body when you're not intaking food, you're really able to see the benefits. So in that 4 to 8 hour window, when you've stopped eating food, all the food has left your stomach. Blood sugars have leveled off, and your body has stopped producing insulin. At the 12-hour mark, all the food you've eaten has been digested and the digestive system has gone to sleep. At this point, your body starts to begin the healing process. Natural human growth hormone starts to increase, and the pancreas secretes glucagon to start balancing blood sugars. And at the 14-hour mark, your body starts to use stored fat as energy, as well as human growth hormone starts to increase rapidly. At the 16-hour mark, the body really starts to ramp up the fat burning. And this is primarily where most people's fasting window ends. For people who continue past that range, at the 8-hour window, human growth hormone begins to skyrocket. At the 24-hour mark, this is when all the glycogen stores in your body have been used up, and the body starts to release ketones into the bloodstream. This is also the point where the body begins autophagy. This is a process where it starts to recycle these old cells, so your body is literally going to a state where it's fixing itself. At the 36-hour mark, autophagy skyrockets 300%. And at the 48-hour mark, this is when the immune system starts to regenerate itself. And for those people who go all the way to 72 hours, this is actually at the point where this autophagy process ends. So fasting any longer than 72 hours is not beneficial. So that being said, all diets are keeping a person in a calorie deficit. But these extra benefits you get from intermittent fasting is basically a life hack. You're having your body do the work for you. The biggest downfall to intermittent fasting and why most people quit up front is because it usually takes about 2 weeks for the body to respond well, before you stop having those vicious hunger cravings in the morning. This is why I look at intermittent fasting as a habit that you need to develop, because it is one thing that if you stick with it, it's going to get a lot easier. And the benefits are dramatic. Let me explain why. You see, the absence of insulin in the body is such an important thing. We have these things called counter-regulatory hormones, and they are produced whenever there's an absence of insulin. These include epinephrine, cortisol, and human growth hormone. These are actually secreted nightly. In our fasted state while we sleep, at around 4 a.m., we get what's called the counter-regulatory pulse, where these hormones are secreted into the body to prepare for the next day. This, along with glucagon, which tells the body to use glycogen as energy stores, gives us a big shot of energy for the morning. So for all those people who were taught that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, that's not exactly true, because we're actually given a shot of energy right before we wake up every morning. There's a lot of people out there that intermittent fasting wouldn't work for, including endurance athletes, who need that high calorie intake. But for the rest of us, who are just trying to live our lives, I think it's a really great tool for you to get through your day-to-day. Push that first meal back. The only thing you should be having in the morning is water and black coffee. If you got anything out of this video, give it a like. It really helps it get out there to other people.